Siberia, the land of the strange and extreme. Is there a place on Earth where taking a 1-minute bath could leave you frozen solid? Or a land where students only get a day off from school if temperatures drop below 55 degrees? And even more astonishing, a tribe where husbands willingly let their wives sleep with guests for a practical reason? If such a place exists, it can only be Siberia. Welcome to the Shin, where we take you on a journey to the world's most extraordinary places. Today, let's explore Siberia, the giant refrigerator of our planet. This vast region holds the record for one of the lowest temperatures ever recorded at +71 degrees E and has been part of Russia since the 17th century. Spanning 13.1 million kilometers, Siberia accounts for 77% of Russia's territory, making it even larger than Canada, the world's second largest country at 9.98 million kilometers. Stepping into Siberia, you won't just experience an unforgiving deep freeze. You'll be shocked by bizarre, mind-blowing facts that sound almost too extreme to be true. So, what are these astonishing realities? Join the Shin as we uncover the most unique and unbelievable things found only in Siberia. The coldest village in the world, when life becomes a survival challenge. You might not know this, but the name Siberia originates from a Tatar term meaning the sleeping land. This vast region is home to approximately 36.8 million people and is the second coldest place in the world, only after Antarctica, with recorded temperatures plunging as low as 71 degrees Celsius. The temperature difference between summer and winter can exceed 100 degrees Celsius, an astonishing figure for anyone hearing it for the first time. If you look closely, you'll notice that houses in Siberia are primarily made of wood rather than steel. This isn't due to preference, but rather because steel can become brittle and crack in extreme cold. In fact, Siberia once experienced a power outage that caused heating systems to shut down overnight. By morning, when people checked on their neighbors, they discovered that more than a dozen elderly residents had perished, unable to survive the brutal cold. Here, cars are not a common means of transport. The reason? If you turn off the engine for more than 5 minutes, the fuel will freeze instantly. Therefore, those who must drive always carry liquefied gas tanks to help restart their vehicles. Located in the northern part of the Sakha Republic, the village of Oymyakon, home to about 800 residents, is considered the coldest inhabited place on Earth. Here, the cold isn't just a challenge, it's a deadly threat. If you step outside without proper protective clothing, you could freeze to death within minutes. In the winter of 1933, Oymyakon recorded its lowest temperature ever, 67.7 degrees. Even accessing water here is a struggle, as ice must be melted for daily use. This village is also home to the coldest marathon in the world, officially recognized by Guinness World Records. To ensure safety, athletes must undergo rigorous medical checks before competing, and medical teams remain on standby throughout the race. The harshness of Oymyakon extends to its education system as well. Schools only close if the temperature drops below 55 degrees E, far from the mere 10 degrees school closure threshold in countries like Vietnam. Additionally, technology is almost useless here due to the extreme cold. There is no telecommunications service, cameras won't function, and even ink freezes in pens. The ground remains permanently frozen, making digging graves an extremely difficult and labor-intensive task. In a place where temperatures drop to 71 degrees C, bathing isn't just a simple habit, it's an hours-long process. Since there is no running water, residents must melt ice to obtain water. Wooden bathhouses are heated with wood-burning stoves for several hours before the water is warm enough to use. The temperature inside these bathhouses can reach over 70 degrees C, creating an extreme contrast between the indoors and the freezing outdoors. However, because preparing bathwater is time-consuming and labor-intensive, people usually bathe only once or twice a week. Once the hot water is ready, women in the household take charge of laundry. What's remarkable is that they don't use washing machines. Instead, they hand-wash everything using melted snow water. This is why no husband ever questions why dinner isn't ready, as everyone understands how physically demanding household chores can be in this freezing climate. Have you ever imagined going to the bathroom in 70 degrees weather? If not, you'd be shocked to learn that bodily waste immediately freezes solid upon contact with the cold air. To prevent toilet pits from clogging, Siberians carry sticks to break up frozen waste if necessary. Moreover, exposing the body to extreme cold during excretion can lead to rapid heat loss, posing a severe health risk, especially for children, the elderly, and those with weak immune systems. Women face additional challenges, as sanitary pads can freeze, causing discomfort and increasing the risk of infection. To cope, many women limit outdoor activities during their menstrual cycles or use traditional cloth pads combined with hot water bottles to stay warm. Some wealthier families have begun installing indoor flush toilets, but this requires complex antifreeze systems, making it an unaffordable luxury for most residents. The harsh climate doesn't just impact daily life, it also affects the economy and food supply. Since crops can't grow, fruits and vegetables must be imported, leading to extremely high prices. While 1 kilo of beef costs around $2.03, a single apple can cost $5 or $7. In terms of architecture, buildings in Siberia must be constructed on massive stilts to prevent them from sinking into the permafrost. However, over time, many structures still tilt and deform due to shifting ice layers. Residents wear multiple layers of clothing, exposing only their eyes to see. In extreme cold, even eyelashes and eyebrows freeze, and people can stay outdoors for a maximum of 20 minutes to avoid frostbite. Siberia isn't just an extreme land. It's a place where some of the most bizarre and unique conditions on Earth exist. Despite facing unforgiving weather, the people of Siberia continue to live, work, and adapt in their own way. If you had the chance, would you dare to visit this place and survive an entire winter? The Eskimo tribe, when wife-sharing becomes a unique tradition. In the Chukotka Peninsula, an autonomous region in northeastern Siberia, lives a community of Eskimos, also known as the Inuit, the snow people of the Arctic. For centuries, they have upheld a unique and controversial tradition: temporary wife-lending. During hunting trips, Eskimo men not only bring their hunting gear, but may also rent another man's wife, a woman introduced by the host beforehand. Throughout this period, the Eskimo woman serves as both a homemaker and a companion, fulfilling both domestic and intimate roles for the man who has hired her. But don't misunderstand, this is not merely about personal desire. Among the Eskimos, wife sharing is considered a sign of respect, a way to offer the most precious gift to an esteemed guest. If the woman becomes pregnant after the hunting trip, the entire tribe celebrates, as in the extreme conditions of the Arctic, where winters last over 6 months and temperatures can drop to 50 degrees. Having children is essential for tribal survival. Here, the concept of virginity does not exist. In Eskimo culture, a virgin simply refers to a woman who has not yet been with any man, rather than something sacred as in many other societies. However, if you're thinking of embarking on a cultural adventure to experience this tradition, forget about it. With increasing exposure to modern cultures, this practice now only persists among the elderly and middle-aged generations. People today understand that uncontrolled sexual relations can lead to disease transmission and genetic issues, which could severely impact future generations. The Inuit are not only known for their wife-sharing tradition, but also for their extraordinary ability to survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. They build igloo ice houses from tightly packed ice blocks, where even beds are made of ice, covered with only a thin layer of fur. Their clothing is also a masterpiece of adaptation to nature. They wear 2 layers of animal skins with fur facing outward to retain heat. They utilize seal, wolf, and polar bear skins to craft clothing, gloves, hats, and waterproof coats. Remarkably, they even make underwear from the sleek fur of seals, providing maximum insulation. Combined with thick fur-lined boots, they can walk through icy landscapes while staying warm. Eskimo men spend the winter hunting seals, whales, and fishing through ice. While in the summer, they hunt reindeer and polar bears. Despite relying only on primitive weapons like harpoons, spears, and bows, they successfully hunt large animals thanks to generations of accumulated knowledge and skills. Due to the harsh natural conditions and limited self-sufficiency, Food prices in Chukotka are among the highest in Russia. A kilogram of tomatoes costs up to $10, while a kilogram of bananas can reach $12. Staggering prices for such basic goods. Yet, no matter how tough life gets, the Inuit continue to endure the bone-chilling cold, preserving their unique traditions and culture against all odds. Slap Fighting Championship. When Siberian men prove their strength with thunderous smacks. Every year in Siberia, a bizarre and extreme competition takes place, one that requires not only the participants, but also the audience to have nerves of steel. This is none other than the Men's Slap Fighting Championship, a sport where strength, endurance, and bravery are pushed to their absolute limits. To compete in this championship, contenders must possess immense physical strength and, more importantly, an incredible ability to endure pain. The rules are straightforward. Each participant takes turns slapping their opponent with full force, with the goal of making them dizzy, disoriented, or even knocking them out cold. But don't mistake this for an unregulated brawl. Matches are overseen by referees, and medical teams are always on standby in case a contestant loses consciousness from an earth-shattering slap. Spectators must also brace themselves, as they often witness their favorite competitor staggering in pain or even collapsing on the spot. No discussion of this tournament would be complete without mentioning Vasily Komotsky, a legendary figure in the world of professional slap fighting. Born in Ilansky, Siberia, Komotsky is a massive athlete weighing over 150 kilos, affectionately nicknamed Dumpling by fans. But don't let his cute moniker fool you. His slaps can instantly knock out even the toughest challengers. Komotsky gained fame for his devastatingly powerful slaps, once knocking out 2 opponents in a row during a competition. For years, he remained undefeated, until early 2020, when he shockingly lost to an unknown farmer in a minor tournament in Russia. This unexpected defeat led Komotsky to retire from slap fighting, stepping away from the limelight. However, in 2021, Komotsky made a surprise return at the World Slap Fighting Championship in Poland. He quickly proved he was still a force to be reckoned with, delivering merciless slaps and defeating multiple opponents to reach the final match. This time, his opponent was David Zaleski, another heavyweight fighter weighing over 180 kilos, whose strength matched that of Dumpling. The showdown between these two titans was intense, as both men exchanged brutal slaps without either falling after 3 rounds. But in the 4th round, Zaleski unleashed a devastating slap, sending the Russian Slap King stumbling and crashing to the ground. With this victory, David Zaleski was officially crowned the world champion. After the match, instead of engaging in post-fight arguments or wild celebrations, both fighters took to social media to proudly share photos of their swollen faces. Fans were shocked to see Komotsky's face puffed up beyond recognition, despite his experience in brutal slap battles. However, Zaleski, the winner, suffered even worse injuries. His face swelled up like a giant bowl, a clear testament to the extreme nature of this sport. The road of death in Siberia, where every journey is a life or death challenge. If you think driving on busy, bumpy roads is terrifying enough, then brace yourself for Siberia's deadly roads, where even the smallest mistake could cost you your life. One of the most extreme challenges for drivers is the Kwandinsky Bridge, which spans the Vitim River. Measuring 570 meters long and barely 2 meters wide, it has just enough space for a single vehicle to crawl across, with no guardrails or safety features whatsoever. A single slip of the wheel could send your car plunging straight into the icy waters below, with no chance of rescue. The bridge is made of aging metal, with only loose wooden planks laid across its surface. But the real problem? Perpetual ice and snow, turning the bridge into a slick sheet of ice. Driving across it is akin to skating on a death trap, where you have no grip, no margin for error, and no escape if things go wrong. What makes it even more terrifying is that the Kwandinsky Bridge was never meant for vehicles. It was originally built as part of the Baikal-Amur Main Line, BAM, a 4,324-kilometer-long railway crossing eastern Siberia and Russia's Far East. But it was never completed. As a result, locals repurposed it as a makeshift bridge, even though no maintenance has been conducted for decades. For over 30 years, the bridge has remained largely untouched, leading to large holes forming in its surface. Many drivers even bring their own wooden planks to cover gaps just to make it across. Successfully crossing this bridge is considered a badge of honor for any driver. If Kwandinsky Bridge is the skyborne death trap, then Lena Highway is the nightmare on land. This road connects Siberia to the city of Yakutsk, Russia's frozen capital. The most unique feature of this road? Not a single stretch is paved with asphalt or concrete. Spanning 1,212 kilometers, the entire highway is nothing more than a narrow, bumpy dirt road, where vehicles frequently break down due to harsh conditions. But the real horror comes during the rainy season, when heavy downpours turn the entire road into a sea of mud. During extended rainstorms, the mud becomes so thick and deep that even massive trucks can sink, let alone regular cars. Traffic jams stretching hundreds of kilometers are a common sight, as thousands of vehicles get stuck in the sludge, unable to move. Drivers often have to wait for days, sometimes even work together to pull each other's vehicles out of the mud. But mud isn't the only thing to worry about. Along the way, you might encounter dense forests, treacherous mountains, and even wild animals like wolves or polar bears unexpectedly appearing. So, if you ever dream of conquering one of the most dangerous roads in the world, make sure you're well prepared, fully equipped, and pray that your vehicle doesn't break down in the middle of nowhere. Polar Wolf Prison. The harshest prison in Russia. Deep within the Yamal-Nenets region of Siberia lies IK3 prison, ominously nicknamed Polar Wolf. This facility houses over 1,050 of Russia's most dangerous criminals. Most inmates here serve sentences exceeding 20 years, with little to no hope of ever returning to the outside world. However, what makes Polar Wolf truly terrifying is not just the bone-chilling Siberian cold, but also its brutal disciplinary system and inhumane conditions. Inside IK3, there exists a special area known as the one-man cell, where inmates who repeatedly violate prison rules are sent. The secrecy surrounding this section is so extreme that no one knows who is imprisoned there. If any information were to escape, it would be a miracle, or the work of a fly sneaking in. But the most dreaded part of the prison is the Shizo punishment block, which is nothing short of torture. Here, prisoners are locked in freezing, solitary cells, completely isolated from the outside world, subjected to starvation, extreme cold, and frequent violence. Beyond the brutal treatment by prison guards, inmates face constant threats of fatal beatings. One such case was exposed in July 2023, when a court in Lebetnangi tried 4 former guards from IK3 for negligence leading to death, 2 of whom were directly accused of beating an inmate to death. Even the prison's medical team has come under fire for ignoring inmates' lives. In one case, a prisoner swallowed metal objects in protest of the harsh conditions, yet was denied medical care despite developing severe intestinal inflammation. Only after his release was he finally able to undergo surgery to remove the foreign objects. Despite multiple reports exposing the abuse and inhumane treatment at IK3, Polar Wolf continues to operate in the shadows, largely escaping public scrutiny. However, the sudden and mysterious death of opposition leader Alexei Navalny has brought this notorious prison into the global spotlight. Navalny, a prominent critic of the Russian government and the founder of multiple opposition organizations, had been sentenced to prison until 2038 for alleged embezzlement charges. But no one expected him to die so abruptly within this prison, with the exact cause of death still unclear. His passing sparked global outrage, raising urgent questions about the fate of inmates within Russia's most feared prison. The Chukchi tribe, a generous people always ready to help strangers. In northeastern Siberia, on the Chukotka Peninsula, lives an ancient indigenous community of around 150,000 people, the Chukchi. Their way of life is deeply interwoven with nature, and they are primarily divided into 2 groups based on their occupation and environment. One group lives inland, practicing nomadic reindeer herding. They set up tents and constantly migrate, following the growth of grasslands to ensure sufficient food for their herds. The other group resides along the coast, specializing in hunting seals, whales, walruses, and sea lions, making full use of the abundant resources provided by the ocean. Regardless of whether they live deep in the forests or by the sea, the Chukchi have maintained traditional modes of transportation such as dog sleds, reindeer sleds, and skin-covered boats. However, over time, they have adapted to modern technology, incorporating motorboats and snowmobiles to aid their daily lives. What makes the Chukchi truly unique is not only their ability to survive in extreme conditions, but also their generosity and strong sense of community. In Chukchi culture, refusing to help someone in need is unthinkable. Whether a stranger is in need of shelter or food, they will always be welcomed and assisted. The community ensures that orphans, widows, and the impoverished are cared for because, to them, greed and selfishness are the worst possible traits. Thanks to this strong spirit of mutual aid, the Chukchi have not only survived, but also maintained a closely knit community, where every individual is protected and supported. Despite their resilience, the Chukchi have historically faced serious health challenges. With limited access to modern medicine, a lack of medicinal plants and minerals, and weaker immune systems, they were highly vulnerable to infectious diseases like smallpox and influenza. As a result, their average lifespan was once only around 45 years. Nevertheless, they have continued to thrive in this frozen land thanks to their strong spiritual beliefs. They believe that everything in nature, animals, plants, and even celestial bodies like the sun, moon, and stars, has a soul. Every year they hold traditional ceremonies where shamans perform rituals to communicate with spirits and predict the future of the community. According to their folklore, the world was created by powerful spirits, while evil spirits are responsible for disease and misfortune. Through this journey, we've uncovered the fascinating secrets of Siberia, from the coldest inhabited places, deadly roads, and brutal prisons, to unique tribal customs and traditions. What impressed you the most about Siberia? Share your thoughts in the comments and join the Shin community in discussing this incredible land. Thank you for staying with us until the very end. See you on the next adventure.